When owning a whole life insurance policy, it is very important that you understand the commitments that are required with maintaining your policy. And what I'm talking about is paying your premiums. My name is Carmen.
And I'm Darius. And make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell to be notified whenever we post new videos. Now, the question is, when can I stop paying my premiums? Well, I know the strategy that we're using is we have a policy where our contract is up for 121 years, which means that's beyond our life expectancy by just a couple years.
Says who?
In any event,
I'm gonna be a strong 120.
In any event, we have a lot of flexibility in this policy because of the fact that we're able to put money into this policy for the rest of our lives. So our strategy behind it is we want to leverage this policy and use this policy as much as we possibly can, so that as we start investing and the interest is being returned back to us, the interest pays for the policy premium. So we can stop paying the policy premium personally when our investments are able to take care of it.
Yeah, but that's high level, right? That's very high level.
That's also just our strategy.
Yeah, and it's good that you gave a little sampling of that, because it gives people an understanding of how to outsource the premium payments. But for those of you who may not be interested in investing or using the interest from your investments to pay for your premiums, the idea is if you have a policy that's designed for 120 years, for example, you'll be personally paying that from your income for 120 years.
Or, well, your investments. Well, I think that's the only way to do lifestyle banking. But anyways, that's me personally. And one thing that we want you to understand when it comes to the system that you create is for you specifically and for your specific individual needs. Not Carmen and Darius, not Joe from around the corner, or not even your financial advisor. Your agent needs to be telling you how to create a system for you specifically.
Yeah. And with that being said, the other thing to note is the options that you have to pay your premium. So if you go into a premium that is designed for you to pay for 10 years only, then you only have to pay for it 10 years. Or if you have a 20-year or a 20 pay premium, you're going to pay for it for 20 years. So there's options in which you can go into this, but it has to be done at the time of your contract, right? You can't go back 10 years later and you've already had this policy for 10 years and say, you know what, I only want to pay this for 20 more years. That's not how it works, especially if it was designed for you to pay for your whole life. So that's why we want to make sure that you understand the nuances of the premium design first. And now let's jump into what happens if you can't pay your premium.
Well, before we go into the can't pay your premium, is I want you to really understand that if you have a premium that you're only going to pay for 10 years or hence a 10 pay, is you're not going to have as much flexibility as you would if you had a policy like us that's out for 121 years. So the shorter your policy premium payment, the less flexibility you have to continue to add money to it, because that 10 pay is only for 10 years, and 11 years you can't add anything else to this policy.
Yeah, that's a really good point. With payments, premiums that have paid up mechanisms, meaning a 10 pay or 20 pay, you're going to pay it up to a certain point. You do have less flexibility because it's more stringent. You're working with less money at the end of the day.
But it's created to your specific needs, and whatever your specific needs, it may be a better idea for you to have a policy that's paid up to 10 years, and after that you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and
you still have life insurance for the rest of your life.
A quick preview as to why you might have a policy designed for 10 years or 20 years is maybe you're doing like a life insurance retirement plan, so to speak, like you're using it for the future. Or if you have maybe a windfall, you have access to a large lump sum of money and you just need to place it somewhere. Maybe you have $100,000 that came into your household. Now you can have a premium that's $10,000 a year for 10 years, and you know that policy is already paid in full without you having to just let that money sit into a bank account. So those are options as far as why you might have those different premiums. But again, everyone's situation is different.
Are you looking for a life insurance policy specifically designed to help you accomplish your financial goals?
And if you have a policy, or if you're looking for more education, would you like to be a part of a community with like-minded individuals who are all using life insurance to accomplish their financial goals? If so, click on the link below. We would love for you to join the Wealth Nation Money School. Now, can we talk about it? What happens if you don't pay your premium?
Yes.
Okay. So if you cannot pay your premium,
let's say you do have a policy that's for 121 years, and come year 8, you have a financial hardship and you can't afford to pay your premium.
You need to contact your agent. Do not be embarrassed. Do not be ashamed. Be as real as you possibly can, because we are here to be your advocate, the Wealth Nation team specifically. I can't speak about anybody else, but if you have something come up, you have to let us know, and you have to let us know how much you can afford to pay. And if you can't afford to pay nothing, we need to know all of that, because then we got to go phone the insurance company and figure out what are your options so that we can help you keep your policy on the books. The last thing that we ever want to do is for a client to lose their policy, meaning the policy to lapse, because you didn't communicate with us, or because, we weren't able to help you save the policy. 9 times out of 10, the insurance company wants you to keep your policy on the books, and they will try to be as flexible as they possibly can to give you some breathing room, give you some space to make things work. We've seen magic happen, right? So it's just important that you just make that little phone call and say, hey, what is the bare minimum I can maintain on this policy to keep it on the books, so that I can have some time to get myself in order.
Yeah, the key to a good working relationship with us or any other agent is to make sure you keep those lines of communication open, not just with what your strategy or what you want your strategy to be, but also with your ability to pay the policy premium or not. Let the powers that be or the people that you're working with know what you're going through, because there may be a strategy that can be used or leveraged in order for you to take care of that situation using your policy. You never know.
Absolutely. So what you're talking about is typically what will happen is the life insurance company will use the cash value inside of your policy to pay for the premium. So as long as you have cash value inside of your premium, it is important that you keep it available, right? So that you can use that for a premium should you need to make that payment. That's typically how you kind of rescue a policy temporarily. And you could do something where you may just pay the base premium. So if you understand what the base premium is, meaning just the cost for life insurance, if you can just pay that on a monthly basis or annual basis, however the case may be, you can keep your policy on the books by just paying the base premium and not the paid up additions.
Now, let's say we get into a situation where you've used all the cash value in your policy and there's no cash value to be used for your premium and your policy lapse. Well, the situation with that is that policy can be saved because you have a grace period in which after a policy lapses that you're able to breathe life back into it, so you don't have to start over.
Yeah, and every person is different. The grace period that is typically always granted is about 30 days. But again, if you let us know well in advance, there's some magic that may, I'm not saying it will, may be able to be worked behind the scenes, just as long as you give us enough time to figure out how can we service your policy so that we can help you keep it on the books. Because speaking from experience, we have had a client where they paid their premium. They were 1 day away from their grace period, paid their premium, and unfortunately they passed like the very next week. So could you imagine if you were in that circumstance where you were so close to losing your policy, and then and this person was healthy and young. We were not expecting, to lose this client. And when he passed, we all were like, holy moly,
like I just talked to him like a month ago and he was fine.
Yeah. So you have to think of those instances. That's why it is so important for us to educate everyone on life insurance, because you just never know what is going to happen to you, what's going to happen to any of your family members. And you have to make sure that you have your financial tools in place should your family need to deploy them. So don't ever let a phone call keep you from contacting your agent to see how you can continue keeping your family protected. Now, if you need to know more information about this whole banking system and everything that we talk about, go ahead and click on our next video.
Remember to own your own lifestyle,
or someone else will.